Good morning and welcome to our first week of Advent. Advent starts actually on Sunday, but I am beginning with my reflection here of one of the passages that is used during the Advent season, a passage from Isaiah. Isaiah seems to come out at this time of year, and such great passages to reflect on. And it's hard to believe we're into Advent already, but I think we can all safely agree that when that snow fell, just not too long ago, all of a sudden the season of winter seemed to just arrive, and it makes hearing Christmas carols on the radio and hearing about passages from Isaiah all that much more real. And so let me share with you some thoughts. Our first reading this week is from a reading from Isaiah chapter 40, and I think that we can all agree safely that we could use some words of comfort and good news, don't you think? Yeah. The prophet Isaiah was writing in a time when the people desperately needed to hear all of these things too. Isaiah was writing in a time of exile and suffering for the people. But before we get to some good news, let me share with you a bit of what I found out this past week about the bad news that made Isaiah 40 such good news. You see, Isaiah 40 marks a break in the book. The break is so dramatic that some scholars actually believe that there might have been more than one writer. Chapter 39 ends with some pretty brutal news that Judah had been carried off into exile in Babylon. The Israelites knew all about what it was to be slaves in Egypt. They did that for 400 years under the rule of Pharaoh. After they got out of that time and had come through the Red Sea and wandered around the wilderness for about 40 years, it was during that season of wandering that the Israelites were solidified as a nation. It was in that wilderness wandering that they grew to trust God and to know God. And they were given the commands of God, solidifying them as a people of one nation. God gave them two primary commandments. He gave them a lot of commandments, actually, but you could summarize them down into two categories. One was that they would be a people epitomized by love. They would love God and they would love others. The second was that they were a people of justice. All throughout the Old Testament, they are reminded, you came out of slavery. Remember, it's like to be what it's like to be at the bottom. And they didn't. They didn't remember. So even in the season of Judges and the season of Kings, there's this slow drift that starts to happen to Israel again, until God finally says, this isn't what I have in mind for you. You were supposed to be a people of love and justice, and you're a people of idolatry and injustice, and I just can't have it anymore. So God sends the Babylonians in 586 to completely destroy Israel. They're taken off into exile, another wilderness. And it's in that exile that Isaiah looks forward to. They had been slaves, as I said, to Pharaoh, and now they were slaves to Nebuchadnezzar. So many years had passed and really nothing much had changed. And yet, the time for punishment was over. It was time for something else, something like, comfort. So we come to this reading for the first week of Advent, words meant to bring comfort to the people. Let me share the reading with you, taken from the New Living Translation. Comfort, comfort my people, says your God. Speak tenderly to Jerusalem. Tell her that her sad days are gone and her sins are pardoned. Yes, the Lord has punished her twice over for all her sins. Listen, it's the voice of someone shouting, clear the way through the wilderness for the Lord. Make a straight highway through the wasteland for our God. Fill in the valleys and level the mountains and hills. Straighten the curves and summon out rough places. Then the glory of the Lord will be revealed, and all the people will see it together. The Lord has spoken. A voice said, "Shout." I asked, "What should I shout?" "Shout that people are like the grass. Their beauty fades as quickly as the flowers in a field. The grass withers and the flowers fade beneath the breath of the Lord, and so it is with people. The grass withers and the flowers fade, and the word of our God stands forever. O Zion, messenger of good news, shout from the mountaintops. Shout it louder, O Jerusalem. Shout and do not be afraid. Tell the towns of Judah, your God is coming. Yes, the sovereign Lord is coming in power. He will rule with a powerful arm. See, he brings his reward with him as he comes. He will feed his flock like a shepherd. He will carry the lambs in his arms, holding them close to his heart. He will gently lead the mother sheep with her young. Imagine being a slave in Babylon, knowing that your homeland has been destroyed, your family crushed, and your people's history and identity nearly blotted out. And you hear this song. The time for mourning and defeat is over. It's time for comfort and good news. The whole passage is a kind of embrace, bringing it with the word of comfort and the ending with the image of a mighty God. But the image is not one of a warrior, not one of a returning hero, but rather that of a shepherd and leading his flock, gathering lambs and carrying them on his bosom, gently leading the mother sheep. Who needs to hear words like that today? Who is hungry, cast down, and forsaken? Who has lost their way and is on a one-way train route in a single loop? When you are down, feeling pressed upon, feeling judged, maybe it's a circumstance that you're walking through right now. You're going, I don't know how this situation is ever going to work itself out. Is there any comfort for this that I am going through right now? Is there any comfort for this day-to-day having to stay in my home when I want to go out? Is there any comfort for not being able to gather with friends and family in this beautiful sanctuary? Is there any comfort? Let's be honest. Christmas is a time when families get together. For some of you, that's really exciting. For some of you, you're going, but my eyes weep. My eyes overflow with tears, for comfort is far from me. Right? Maybe it's relational and there's a seed of bitterness you just can't seem to stamp out. Is there any comfort? Is there any comfort? But what better image is there than a God who embraces you, takes you up and holds you close, whispers in your ear that you are loved and that it's going to be okay. Come to me, all who are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. On this first week heading into Advent, may these words of Isaiah bring you comfort. Amen.